My Caucasian wife, 20s, said it was just a joke when another Caucasian man, 20s, called her wifey.
Can you stop being weird about it? I'm not being weird, I'm asking a question, she replied with a smirk emoji. When my coworker calls me wifey, it's just an inside joke. Relax. I stared at the message for a long time, probably longer than I should have. I typed back asking why a coworker would call a married woman that. She just replied that I was overthinking. I told her that jokes usually stop when someone gets uncomfortable. Her response. She said my insecurity was exhausting. That word, exhausting, it just stayed with me all afternoon like a heavy weight. Later that day, she messaged me saying she would be home late. I asked why. Work drinks, she said. I asked who would be there. Her reply was everyone, but something in my gut told me that wasn't the whole truth. So I waited at home, watching the dinner I'd made get cold on the table. When she finally walked through the door, she was smiling a little too much. I asked her how the drinks went. Great, she said, completely avoiding my eyes. I had to ask. Was the coworker there? She said, of course, and then she laughed. I pushed a little further. Did he call you wifey again? She smirked and said yes. I asked if she liked it. She just shrugged her shoulders and said it was harmless. I told her it felt disrespectful to me, to our marriage. Her only response was to tell me to loosen up. That night I barely slept. My mind just kept replaying that word, harmless. The next morning, as I was getting ready, I glanced at her phone on the nightstand. A message preview was lit up on the screen. It said, "Good morning, wifey." My chest tightened. It felt like a punch to the gut. I didn't wake her. Instead, I quietly took a photo of the screen. At work that day, I couldn't focus. I just kept replaying every little thing from the past few months. The late nights, she said, were for work. The way she started locking her phone, which she never used to do. The sudden change in her clothes, buying things that weren't her usual style. It all started to click into place, forming a picture I didn't want to see. That evening, I knew we had to talk. I waited for her to get home and said, "We need to talk." She let out a heavy sigh as if I was some kind of major inconvenience. That's when I showed her the photo I'd taken of her phone. Her face went completely still. The color drained from it. Her first reaction wasn't an apology, it was an accusation. She accused me of snooping. I told her I wasn't snooping, I was protecting myself. She tried to downplay it, saying it was just flirting, that it meant nothing. I asked her, how would you feel if a female coworker started calling me husband? She just snapped back that it was different. How is it different? I asked. She said it was because she trusted herself, so I asked, should I trust him too? She had no answer for that. She kept saying I was making a big deal out of nothing. I told her, nothing usually doesn't hide in secret good morning messages. Her voice got louder then. She accused me of being controlling. And that word, controlling, it hurt more than finding out the truth. It felt like she was twisting my pain into a weapon against me. I asked her just one thing, to stop seeing him outside of work. She refused. She said I had no right to tell her who she could or couldn't see. And in that moment I realized I was already losing her. Maybe I had already lost her. That night she slept facing away from me, a wide, cold gap between us in the bed. The next day, my phone buzzed with a message from an unknown number. It just said, "You seem tense lately?" I replied, "Who is this?" The answer came back with a smiley face emoji. The inside joke guy. My hands started to shake. I typed back, "Why are you texting me?" He said he wanted to clear the air. I asked him straight up if he thought calling my wife wifey was respectful. His reply shattered everything. He wrote, "She likes it." That one sentence? She likes it. It just broke something inside of me. All her denials, all her claims that it was harmless, they all crumbled. I left work early and went straight home. She was already there, sitting on the couch, calmly scrolling through her phone as if nothing was wrong. I stood in front of her and said, "He texted me." Her eyes widened for just half a second before she regained her composure. "What did he say?" she asked, her voice a little too steady. I told her everything. I told her he said she liked the nickname. She immediately said he misunderstood, that he got it wrong. I looked at her and said, "He repeated your own words." She went completely silent. The room was quiet for a long moment. Then I asked the question I was dreading. "Has anything physical happened?" She looked down and whispered, "Not yet." That one word, yet, was all I needed to hear. I stood up and walked to the closet, grabbing an empty bag. She asked me what I was doing. I told her, "I'm choosing dignity." She laughed, but it was a nervous, desperate sound. "You're being so dramatic," she said. I looked at her and replied, "Jokes end marriages too." Suddenly, the reality of the situation seemed to hit her. She begged me to stay, to talk it out. I just shook my head. "I've talked enough." The tears started then. She cried and said it all meant nothing. I looked at her one last time and said, "It meant everything to me." I walked out the door before I could change my mind. That night, my phone blew up with dozens of messages from her. I didn't rate a single one. Days went by, turning into a week. Then she sent a proper apology. She said she was sorry that she'd made a terrible mistake and that she had ended things completely with him. And you know what? I believe she meant it. But trust isn't like a computer. You can't just reboot it. I replied to her message, wishing her well. She asked if there was any hope for us. I wrote back, "Hope needs respect to survive." The chat went quiet after that. I archived the conversation instead of deleting it. Some reminders aren't just pain, they're lessons. And that was a lesson I'll never forget. Thanks for listening to my story. If you've been through something similar, know that you're not alone. Don't forget to subscribe for more real stories.